Hey YouTube, I'm excited. I got a new project for you guys, and I'm going to be making some barn doors out of steel. I'm going to show you how to do that.
I'm Sarah, and this is Travis. We've moved 7 times in the last 6 years, and are currently renovating our 3rd house. With our 3 boys and our Old English sheepdog. Follow along as we renovate our house and raise our boys. That's him! Subscribe and join us on our next adventure.
I'm going to be doing that here at Truck Trim, and I'm going to be making it out of square tube and some angle iron out of some thin steel. And if you want to know exactly my materials, we can put that in the description below. I'll have Sarah add that. But it's basically 2-inch square tube as the outside, a 1-inch by 2-inch square tube for the inside, and some 1/2-inch by 1/2-inch angle, and some 14 gauge steel, and then some glass too, by the way. And that'll make more sense as you see my doors here as I get further on this. So I'm going to start out by just making the outside framework of this door. I'm going to miter my cuts at a 45, and then I will tack weld them together. And I'm going to get after it. Where I'm at with this is I've cut all my cross pieces. This is a 2-inch by 1-inch rectangle tube. And our design is to split this out into basically 6 sections that will have glass in them. Just like that. And then glass, and this will have a metal panel. Now, I've already cut all my pieces. I'm ready to start welding this. And my plan for welding this is to use 2 of these pieces as my spacer. Let me just prove that that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to weld the face of this, not the inside weld yet, because I'm going to have to add some of this angle pieces to be a framework for my glass. And you'll see that soon enough. Another day. So I'm 7 hours in so far. These stupid little pieces, they're gonna be my window, my glass trim, not window, but my glass trim. I'm gonna have 2 pieces that go like this with the glass in between, and it's gonna frame this whole opening. I'm gonna weld one side in right now. The other side I'm gonna drill, and it's gonna be screwed on so I can change out panes of glass as my kids inevitably break it. These dumb pieces took me about 3 hours to cut out, and now I gotta do a little touch up, deburr, and weld them in place. So this is by far the most tedious part of this job so far. I think I was 2 hours into building this frame around here, and 2 hours for building the inside glass frame, and 3 hours on putting, just cutting these out. And I'm gonna have to make a little jig here so I get this all spaced right. The glass I'm going with is 1/4 inch, which is probably too thick for what's normal, but inevitably my kids are gonna break it, so that's why I decided to go with thicker. And the jig's gonna take a little bit of time. Once I make the jig, then this part should go real quick.
Alright, came up with just a little quick jig. I just found I did the math, and my spacing here that I needed was 3/8, so I just found a couple 3/8 pieces of flat bar, and that's gonna space everything up perfectly to give me enough room for glass and the other side of the trim. So now I'm gonna start welding on this. Alright, let me show you guys how that turned out. I think it's gonna work. So it's just tack welded. Really small but strong weld. I think it's gonna work perfect. Let me flip it and we'll look at it. Well, I think I'm really happy with that. You can see just a sliver of a gap right there, and I don't know what to do about that. Either I need to take this ring and weld it into a complete unit, grind it off, and then put it in the hole. Then I'm going to have a gap here potentially instead of there, or I just use caulk or something after.
Okay, remember those gaps I was talking about that I thought maybe I'd caulk? I'm figuring this out as I'm going, and I decided to weld them.
So let me zoom in on one of these so you can see what I did. So I just didn't like that everything was different. There was too much going on, big gaps, little gaps. So I just decided to weld it and make it more uniform. And my welds are definitely not perfect, but they're pretty good, and I think it looks perfect for me.
Another day since you've seen this last. These panels are all done. I've made the rings for both sides. I'm waiting on glass to get built and delivered. It's been delayed. I'll get it Monday. Today's Saturday. Now I'm welding in this framework, which this framework is going to hold a sheet of metal. So it'll be solid metal and glass. And yeah, then you're all caught up. I'm going to be putting these in today. I'm going to be doing some TIG welding today to smooth out some of my rougher MIG welder welds, if that means anything to you. But yeah, enjoy. Because I'm not. Okay, so this flat bar gets mounted up here. There's another half, this is half of it. There's another section that gets mounted over here. So I've done the math of where that placement exactly needs to be. And now I need to hold this up, and I got this all level and everything too. Now I need to hold this up, mark my next hole. Hopefully it lands on a stud. If it doesn't, so there's two ways to do this. It has to be killer strong up here, especially mine because it's so heavy. And you either need to get lucky and have it all land on studs, or you need to put some type of header up there, like maybe a 1/2 inch thick, 5 inch by 12 foot or whatever length you need, piece of wood that you would paint the same color as your wall or something. And then you could screw this anywhere along that to it. So far it's looking good, but I'm banking on all the extra pieces of wood I put here are gonna line up with holes, or I'll drill and put my own holes. So I am not using a header. And yeah, now you're up to speed. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the door here all done, just needing to be painted, and a couple other touch-ups like a handle and stuff. But I'm test fitting this all right now before this goes to paint.
Gosh, I love it.
I can hear it!
Okay.
Help me!
So I ran into kind of an interesting problem here that I want to show you guys. There's always a surprise in every job. I think this will be the best shot for you to see what I'm talking about. Now if you see those brackets on the floor, that keeps the door from swinging front and back and helps guide it side to side. This one, they're both adjusted right now so that the doors line up evenly. This side is all the way adjusted that way. That side is all the way adjusted that way. So my walls are about a 1/2 inch-ish different between the span of the gap from side to side. And to get my doors to line up right, and just at the bottom, by the way. At the top, it's all level. At the bottom, that side is a 1/2 inch further that way than that side, which is a 1/2 inch further that way. That is why my spacers have to be different. Pretty stupid. No wall is square, but this was a surprise. Now what I'm going to do to fix it, see how this bolt and slider is right to the edge of this bracket? I am going to cut this one, weld in the middle, and then paint it black so that they stop appearingly at the same spot. In reality, this bracket's going to be this 1/2 inch smaller, but it'll be a trick of the eye. I don't think you'll ever be able to tell once I do that.
glass in.